Hey everyone, Alfredo here. And so I'm gonna get straight to the point. So I'm just gonna give all of you some general feedback from the things I've seen from the submissions. I saw about like 19, 20 submissions. If there's any new ones, I will be commenting on those as well. But I'm just gonna point out like the negative things I saw, the positive things I saw, and how I think it would be more efficient, just like cutting through the noise of what actually works and what doesn't. And so, 80% of you did a lot of things that could have been done better. Like, for example, many of you made it like only like a website only interface. Like, I'm not always going to be able to access a website. I'm going to be on my phone. Sometimes I'm driving. I can't pull up a website while I'm driving, while I'm cooking. So, this, like, as I've said, it has to just flow, just like be very easy for the ADHD brain to just have to use almost nothing of their cognitive like abilities to just manage their own life completely in every single task. And so I saw like a lot of you use the PAEI methodology, for management, more like categorizing, like okay, because I saw some of you were like, okay, so I ask a question or I tell the model, the AI model to do something, and then I just click on which of the personalities it is. So it's not about choosing, it's more about having all those different management personalities collaborating to make the final executive decision. And so I also saw that not a lot of people use the Tony Robbins RPM methodology. So I think I'm just gonna include below a link to how that methodology works just so like maybe that can get better understanding as to adding that methodology on top of the PAEI decision making, adding that to the parent agent as well as to how it should approach adding tasks, right? And so, I wanted to show the actual modern AI and how it works. So I actually work and utilize this modern AI. I wanted to show a little bit of motion AI in a couple of videos that sometimes the videos can explain better than me how their functions work and how the combination of how modern AI works and how motion AI works, and then just the other things we're adding on top of what they do on their own, like Fireflies, like finance, like the biometrics from the Whoop, which is more complex things that will probably start happening much later. How all of this can connect into this like the present operating system, which is division, right? So, as we've discussed, like the whole parent-child agent system is what we're looking for, like spatialized agents for each task, them collaborating if you have to use two child agents at the same time. But we always have this parent agent, this chairman that takes the decision at the end of the day. And so, you know, I wanted to kind of just like demo modern AI a bit. So I have modern AI with me here right now. So here we have one of the things that modern AI does is pretty well. You can just if you receive any emails, it can automatically just draft responses to those type of emails according to the rules you give it. Like, say for example, related to investors, then I want you to draft me an email that makes sense within the context of the conversation that I've been having back and forth with this investor. You'll know because it grabs the context from your emails, right? We can go to to the chats. So here, there's something interesting here. Like we have like the contacts. So contacts, I can give it all my phone contacts, like all the numbers, and I can also give it like all the emails. And that way, it's very convenient because if I say I want you to text this person this and that, then it would be very convenient. Like for example, I can be like, I don't want to say like the emailing right here so that it doesn't pull up the personal number. But just to give one example of what modern AI can do is I would say schedule a meeting with Alfredo tomorrow at 3 p.m. Send him Google Meet as well and remind him 30 minutes before for meeting and and maybe even more nice would be if I could say and also invite Firefly, but many times Firefly is if it's connected to your email, it immediately joins. And I say Firefly as the AI that comes to take notes in your meetings, but that's not necessarily what it needs to be. It's just a convenient one. It's a convenient one you can use because I believe you don't have to reinvent the wheel. I saw some of you did submissions where you tried to just build a lot of native things. If something already exists, what matters more is orchestration and just intelligently managing everything, whatever connects everything and has the most utility, right? So let's see, let me just send this here. Something very interesting is that it lets me choose between the different models. This is something really nice it does. So it says, look, it says email, just meeting with Alfredo in 30 minutes. Like this is the reminder set, event created. I'll schedule the meeting with this person and I'll send it in Google Meet and it just does that, right? And also it'll it'll set it in the calendar. It can set it in the calendar as well, but it can also text me through messages. So a really good thing is that this is not just working through a website. I can even interact with it with the AI through text messages, which is something that I have. So I'm gonna pull up here. Let's make myself bigger. So here I have pinned in my contacts Martin. And so it's constantly reminding me of different things that I have to do and in just tasks. Even something that I do that is very nice is every time at 7 a.m., it reminds me of the things that I have to do while looking at my calendar, while scraping the internet, because then it can, like, for example, right, the parent agent could grab from the calendar agent, look at the calendar, what things I have, and it can also use the research agent at the same time to look up information that is necessary based on the decision that it has to make to then plan out for me my briefing of how my day is going to look like. Like, for example, if in the morning I want to decide if I'm going to go kite surfing, I'm going to go regular surfing, oh, the wind and the waves are bad, I'm going to go do weights, then it'll be able to scrape with the research agent everything from the internet to make that decision. And at the same time, it will it will look at my calendar and see if I'm busy, if this task is going to take too long. So it can do all that decision logic of my briefing, and then I'll get this briefing. So here it just says something like study linear algebra, watch videos, 6:30 a.m., just meditate, 7 to 9 p.m., do oceans, just physical activity, surfing, gym, yoga. Oh, you have these classes, for example. And then at 1 p.m. to 6:30 p.m., you have to focus on this task. So that's something that of how it works. And then I can add anything. Like for example, I'll show you here. Like this is very good a way because sometimes we're not going to be looking at a website, but if we get text messages, then we'll get the notification right in our phone, something that's always a extension of ourselves. We always have it with us. And then let's see, show. I have said send me at 7 a.m. You want important emails, Google Calendar events, Slack updates from company, work on graduate school applications. I've given it all the things that I wanted to look at, and it'll be able to look at all those things, and it'll give me a briefing through text messages. So that's something that we could, just operate with, right? Now, even more interesting, since it's also should be mobile on top of the website, I could definitely just, I create a shortcut to the app, and I can just press this button, and it'll immediately take me to Martin, and then I can hold to speak to it and say, hey, so I want you to schedule a call with Alfredo tomorrow at 3 p.m. Actually, no, not 3 p.m. I want it to be at 4 p.m. and text me 30 minutes before. And also send a reminder to Alfredo, which you know who you can send it to any of his emails and he'll receive it. And then the AI will talk back to me because I think it's very good to have the voice mode as well, which is
I'll schedule a call with you tomorrow at 4 p.m. I'll also text you 30 minutes before the call as a reminder. Lastly, I'll send a reminder to your email address, alfredopresent.inc, so you can receive it there. Let me handle this. The call with yourself is scheduled for tomorrow at 4 p.m.
And so it schedules it.
You'll receive a text
And I can
reminder.
just interrupt it. And I got an email as well about the meeting, and it scheduled it and added it to my calendar. Something else is that I can also create tasks. So there's many ways I can schedule tasks. It can this AI can also just call me. It can call me and then interact with me. It can check for a bunch of different things that are very useful. It can call me to remind me of things that I have to do. Sometimes I won't get a message, so I can just schedule the AI to call me. So that's something that's very useful as well. That's why voice mode and just it working in the back end is what we need the most, right? And so Motion AI, something that Motion AI does very well is that it does this invisible management of your calendar and auto schedules things like while you're not paying attention. So like let's just say for example, I can add a task here. I can just say do this task and it has to be high priority. It lasts 30 minutes. So here I was talking with the AI of it, and then I can just say create a new task, titles, descriptions, due date, say priority low, medium, high, and based on that, on how priority it is, then it can just be like, okay, so it's high priority, then I have this focus session from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m., then I will I can put that there because it overrides that because it's more important because it's max priority, right? And so also something that this AI does very well is that it has the context of all the past meetings from Firefly, let's say, and it can access them and it can access the transcripts. And on top of accessing the transcripts, it can grab action items from the in the backend and the storage of all those meetings, and then immediately just add those things to my calendar. So what you can see, this person, like what he's doing is, so he adds his task, remind our users of how awesome Motion is and does these subtasks, and then immediately just schedule into it. So jumping over here, so this is something that Motion AI does. So whatever task you have, if you move it here, and it'll just find the gaps where you have time, and it'll immediately just schedule the task based on the other calendars it does. So I don't have to it has the context of all the meetings I have, and it'll if I say, okay, let's say for example, I have to do this task for Friday at 2 p.m. So if I say, let's go, I have to clean the dishes for tomorrow for, let's just say for Friday deadline, and it takes 30 minutes. This is a high priority task. So if I just say that, they'll create the task. They'll say, task in the dishes, this time, 30 minutes, hi, assigned to you. Yes. And so assign this task. And so I'll show the task soon enough. This task immediately, 30 minutes. It knows when to do it. Now it'll auto schedule, so it'll just auto schedule whatever I have time within those 30 minutes within my calendar, right? So if I go to my calendar, I see that the task will be assigned, let's just say here. So clean the dishes 8:30, 9 p.m. So it immediately knows exactly when I have free time. So you see, like it's all these are available times. And so let's just say if I move this here, update event, then it moves the task over here to another time. So it knows immediately. So of course I don't want to be manually moving it, but if I set it through a voice and then like there was like a conflict, then it would immediately move it. You see? So it's intelligent by itself as well. And I could just go to this AI chat and ask it about the meetings. So, you know, I was asking it things as well, just so I would show it here. I said, you have context over the meetings. Yes, I can access that. And I can say, can you create tasks over these events that you transcribe, that you recorded? And it would be intelligent enough to do those capabilities. So this is something that just can run in the back end and I don't have to worry about it. Or I can just say, write an investor memo, Friday deadline 2 hours. It will find 2 hours for doing my day. And yeah, that's how it does invisible task management. On par with the things that Martin does with the voicemail, just do this task, the calendar, schedule this meeting, email this person, auto draft immediately based on how my tone is. So that's just different things that they do. So we don't want the biggest thing, and the reason why I'm showing Martin in motion is that the integration of these two things, what matters the most is that the user doesn't have to manually schedule anything. So I saw many of you like integrated these native calendars within the the website or the software you were using. And so why would I do that if I can just go straight up to Google Calendar, put the title, set the time? I don't want to do any of that. I don't want to do anything manual. So everything has to be frictionless. I barely have to use my brain. I can just talk to it. I can do it through WhatsApp, through Telegram, through SMS, through the app, through the website. I have all mediums depending on what context I'm in. If I'm mainly working in Telegram, I can immediately go to Telegram. So it's just everything, there's no resistance whatsoever. And so something that I found like a very interesting perspective to give you guys is, so I was reading and looking into something Andre Karpathy said, who's a big deal in AI, about this council architecture that he worked on. And so basically what he did was he had this council about all these different large language models, GPT-4, Claude, Gemini, Perplexity, and they all gave an answer, and then this chairman, kind of like the parent agent, grabbed the output from all these different large language models and then said, okay, this is the superior executive decision. This is the best parts from what everybody said, and then delivers a report at the end. So it's the same dynamic, but with a council of personalities. Instead of LLMs, we have these different management perspectives, which are very essential to this framework that we're building, to this system. So we have the producer, let's get this things done fast, send it now, keep it brief, facts only, 2 minutes max. Administrator, so, include all the stakeholders, document this thoroughly, or the entrepreneur, frame it as a quality opportunity, maintain excitement, better results matter. The integrator acknowledges the team's work, takes responsibility. So we have all these different personalities and we get an input from all of them. And let's just say we say here, okay, scenario. Send team update about project delay. Parent consults to all the four council members and it says, analyzes the context. Okay, the team morale is low. Recent producer heavy work. Decision that we should take the integrator approach here because the morale is low, right? And so it drafts in a pathetic email and then awards integrator XP because it decided to rely more on the integrator, right? So depending on what it decides to rely on is how it will be, right? And so I saw many of you just, like I said before, chose the persona beforehand. That's not how it should be. They should all collaborate because innately you may be more of an integrator or more of a producer or more of an entrepreneur, but we have to balance these things to have, let's just say, a successful business, to have everything managed perfectly. So we don't want that. We don't want to be too much of one because the ideal management includes all these four different types of personalities. And so things not to build that I saw that I've mentioned a couple already. So I saw someone build like calorie tracking. I don't think that's necessary. So there exist other tools such as Cal AI where you literally just take a picture of the food and it knows exactly what the food is and it counts the calories and it automatically tracks it for you. So manually putting calories in all those things, I saw someone do that. I think that's inefficient and unnecessary. It defeats the whole ADHD optimization thing. But what is really good, what would be really good is, which I understand this could be much later, integrating Whoop as biometric energy data. So on top of in the whole PAEI personality for decision making, we have taking into consideration the biometric energy data from the Whoop or how you're feeling, your strain, and all those different things as to how to make the decision because sometimes you won't have the best energy levels and so it won't be the best to approach things a certain way. And so I saw someone put like a focus music player. I don't think that's efficient either. People, whatever people do with music when they're working, that's just their personal preference. They put Spotify, Apple Music. I mean, even Brain.fm is an interesting company that uses these binaural beats to help you focus and then combines it with lo-fi. So that's interesting. And so I saw everybody did like the open weather API thing, or many of you, which what I wanted to get at with the basic, with the weather aspect was more, my phone can do that, honestly. My phone can show me the weather and that's fine. But what we need is something about the weather, the environment that drives decisions. Like for example, I want the research agent to look at what's the weather, what's the swell in this area that I'm located, what's the wind, and based on all those different variables, I can decide if I'm going to go to the beach to go meditate, to go either kite surf, which is better when it's windier, or surfing, which is better when it's less windy. And so just make decisions based on those environmental factors, but not just saying the weather by itself alone, because it's not very useful because I could just grab my phone and do that, right? And so what we see here, for example, of what the context I've given. So example, 6 feet swell, offshore winds, blocks morning because offshore is really good. 6 feet swell is really good. We're gonna go surfing. It makes that decision for me in the morning. So things to build, like I said, Telegram, WhatsApp for frictionless access, or voice message or voice mode. I can just talk with voice mode. 11 Labs is really good API for natural language. Fireflies for meetings or any other way that this can be achieved. Motion does his own does its own notes and keeps context of it itself as well. Emotone learning. So just like, for example, this is a good example I want to give. So ChatGPT stores memory of who you are the more you talk to it. This this operating system should be the same as well, and it should preserve context as to how I write emails, how I've done them, to which context, and as I said, PAEI decision consulting logic for everything I do, and the RPM structure as well, which is very important. So just as I said, we want this to be completely frictionless. The website interface, this is valuable, but mobile access as well, and the message integration as well. For example, for Telegram, it can be a Telegram bot, a WhatsApp bot, SMS reminders, voice messages, reminders, calls, however the person, you know, prefers. The least friction, the better. We don't want the person to have any learning friction at all. As I discussed, we have the parent-child architecture. So this could be an example of how this goes. You know, the parent analyzes the user intent from what the person says for the voice, and then it consults all the personalities. It considers then the energy, the schedules, the deadlines, all in the calendar, decides the optimal approach and which agents to activate, like for example, which child agent I want to activate, and then coordinates its response. So let's just say, or it can be a unified collaboration with the child agent. So we have the email agent, to send, read, categorize, learn tone. We have the calendar agent to just schedule, reschedule, sync, the task agent to just extract information and then auto schedule. Or we have the meeting agent, Firefly transcriptions, like things I've already said, right? So, so this is how it should not happen. So what we should prevent from happening is, I say set a meeting with Nathan at 2 p.m., send Google Meet, and then nothing just happens. I mean, some of you I saw that the way you would create tasks, you had to say in a specific way, right? And I don't if one of the if a large language model like Gemini or Claude or ChatGPT is integrated, usually that doesn't happen. It doesn't happen that you have like this restriction of saying things in a specific way. And I saw that there were a lot of different tabs for the system that was built from some of the MVPs, which is very necessary because really what we need is that chat interface. We have the XP, we have the memory, we have all these different variables, right? And so I discussed the database. So I think Notion is very good. It has a very good UI. It's very clean. It's very good for like rapid development. But Firebase is completely fine. At the end of the day, what matters is that it stores all the tasks, all the memory, all the context. It stores the XP, the priority tasks, the due dates for any task, and and yeah, it just grabs all the context. That's what matters, really. But I I personally like Notion a lot, and Firebase can work pretty well, pretty good as well. So we like what I said. So we want persistent storage, a structured schema, user visibility, and rack functionality that it remains retrieved augmentation so that it remains context of everything in all documentation. So we've already discussed these things. Okay, so just showing the email agent. So it's not just like send an email and that's it. We want it to be able to read all incoming emails, to be able to auto categorize the emails, if it's to the label of finance things, meeting recaps, personal things, priority, business, even like auto draft responses to emails that are very important, especially depending on the category. Let's say it's priority business, have an auto draft ready so I can look at it. Or I can just, send a voice message as to what to respond. Or I can get notifications as well to my Telegram bot or through text messages of the priority emails that I have to respond to when it grabs the context from those incoming emails. And it also knows how to draft emails in my natural voice as well from grabbed context. And then shows me a draft of, like I said, send me this email in my natural tone. It shows me the draft of what's going to send. And I say, okay, approved. And it sends it. And just like that, I can do it for voice mode and I don't have to. So like what I said, Fireflies is it's very important because when we have fireflies, many of the decisions and tasks that happen, in the context of a company or the person, then happen from these meetings. And so if it can immediately grab from the context of these transcripts tasks that I have to do and immediately put them in my calendar, I don't have to be paying attention to that. I can jump straight to the next meeting and not even and just stop thinking about that. And then, for example, the meeting happened, meeting with Sarah completed, 3 new tasks extracted and scheduled, follow up with the assigned team, tomorrow 2 p.m. You see this is like a context of these tasks being added, like this in the context of producer, draft partnership proposal, and understand the entrepreneur, review Q4 budget, this is something more of an initiative, and so on. And for meeting coordination, integrator. So this is an example of how it could be. So I was just showing the voice mode. I think I've explained this already pretty well, but you can look at this and pause if you want. So one of the most important things, context accumulation and memory. So like I saw one of you said, send email to Straw Hat saying what up. Here's, just a random example. And it immediately knew who Straw Hat was and what his email was and the context of the conversations from that person. That's exactly what we want. It already knows emails of people, it already knows the context of emails. It can even check all the emails beforehand to retrieve context or store context in the back end before I do anything about that email. And so, these are the most important variables as to accumulating the context and the memory, right? So, what are the priorities? What things are always happening daily? My Whoop recovery scores, sleep quality trends, how does that impact the decision I make? Morning person patterns, okay, it's you work better in the morning, so I'm gonna auto schedule this in this free time in the morning, and so on. This is what I explained before. So what we extract from the environment are things is not just the open weather API, but it captures things like local swell, wind, waves, things that help make decisions based on those conditions and then decide what am I going to do? I'm going to go kitesurf, I'm going to go surf. It's just going to be a beach day and so on. And it can extract all this information. So I actually wanted to show some examples of submissions that I really liked. You can read what I liked about these certain submissions, but I'm only going to show a couple right now. So, for example, one of the ones I liked. So I really liked this one from Ayush. So it was really nice because it captured really well what we were trying to look at. So here, it said schedule a design review meeting with UI UX team at 4 p.m. tomorrow. Immediately showed it and gave a link to the calendar and added the task, and then said like, okay, 5 p.m. tomorrow, I can change it, for example. And like on the side, it has like the XP distribution depending on the role, so it tracks the XP as well. And then in the left, it's really nice. It's showing like the things you've done, that you have the meetings that you have, and which is done with administrator or producer, right? So I think that was really nice as well. And then it has like all the whole task database in Notion. I think that was done pretty well, and the different roles and the massive action plan. So the RPM is actually implemented pretty well here. So research, what's the result we want? what purpose are we doing this and what's the plan we're going to do to execute that for the Tony Robbins methodology is just grab pretty well. And there were more that I really liked as well. So this one was the recent one that I was looking at from Shreyas, which was really great because it integrated the Telegram bot. You can, instead of just talking through the website, you can just interact through it through Telegram as well. And it is very nice. And so then you can just ask it for anything. And you have the experience as well, the progress to the levels, which is very engaging, less friction, you know, research the latest agent framework and send it. This is extremely good. You can send a text or a voice message, and then it'll run the agent, and the agent will decide pretty well. So that this time I decided to use the research agent. But really, what I really liked here was that look at here in the executive thought, it gives this was grabbed pretty well. So it grabs the all the PAEI personalities for management, and then based on all of those, it decides what is the best decision at the end of the day. So this is exactly the collaboration we want between the different personalities. And it used a research agent and it grabbed the information. And then it did a second task as well to send to email, if I remember correctly. Exactly. And so it knew the email as well to where to send it. And so this was a very good way to capture it. And it adds it to the task. But really good is that you can, even through Telegram, you have more options as to how to interact because you have any unread emails, executive thought, we have the personalities. So, and it shows the inbox summary and it grabs it pretty well. So this is something like we want to see with the system that is really good. So another one I really liked was this one, because we have here, it shows you in a really good way, kind of like motion. We have the task is medium priority, the experience points, and it also has this chat interface which is very clean. We have the XP progress here as well for the different personalities, but it also keeps track of the memory. And so I really like the way this one was built as well. And so Straw Hat loves Chinese food. Yes, he enjoys Chinese food. I was going to keep that in mind, and it then adds that to the memory, and that was extremely good. So that's something I really liked, and then also implemented the Notion task database, which is really nice. So yeah, I wanted to really just talk positively about ones that I really liked because some of you actually grabbed it pretty well and took the feedback, and I loved it. It was really nice. I loved it. It was fun to see all the submissions. And so I just wanted to show this. What we're building is like the superior version. Think Martin, think motion, and think a little bit more than that, like the Firefly, like the finances and all those different variables that we're going to grab. And we grab all those different things at the same time. So that's what the present operating system is. It's completely frictionless, perfect for the ADHD brain, which many people already today. Everybody seems to have ADHD with all everything that's happening with the social media, dopamine, and all that. Everybody needs something that's frictionless, especially when one's burned out. You can just manage your whole life, and this works at every time, no matter your energy levels. That's what we need. That's what keeps us consistent. Everything and this that manages us is completely frictionless, no matter the energy levels we have. So here we have Martin, Motion, Firefly, Whoop, PAEI, RPM. All those things would keep us to the most optimal level of efficiency and manage all these things. So you can pause and just look at this as well. And so, it's just basically just suggestions as to the same things that I already said. You can look up how Martin AI works, Motion AI works, however you want. You can you can ask yourself, can I interact from the phone? Is this natural? Does the PAEI consult happening? Is it consulting on the four personalities for taking the decision? Is when I do a task, is it using the RPM methodology, which I can then store those tasks in Notion or however I prefer, however it works, is cleanest, whatever gets the results done, right? Do we have the Telegram bot? Do we have through messages? Do we have the mobile version? Do we have the voice mode? Can we interact and talk with it? Can this be less frictionless? And so on. And so we have the database. Do we store the tasks, the quests, the XP, the transcriptions, and then make those into tasks? We have the Google Calendar, the intelligent management, the Gmail. So learning how your tone is, and then sending those emails immediately just by natural language. And we have things we've already discussed as well that you could just look at here. And so yeah, that's basically the general idea. That's all the feedback. If you guys have any questions, I don't mind responding. Hopefully everything goes well. Everybody, likes the feedback a lot. I'm looking forward to how you guys progress because I've loved a lot of the submissions that have happened. And yeah, I'm excited for what's to come. Good luck.